What's the point of staying the same? Of clinging to a stale identity like it's something precious? People are terrified of change, petrified of leaving behind the crumbling versions of themselves because they're shackled to a lie. The lie that consistency is strength. But the real strength, the real power, is in evolution, in becoming a force so fluid, so elusive, that no one can ever grasp what you truly are. Reinvent yourself until your past selves are nothing but shadows. Shed your old skins like a serpent, and leave those who thought they knew you grasping at nothing but fragments. To live is to change. To be stagnant is to rot. Reinvention is a constant death and rebirth, a cycle of destruction and creation that rips you apart, remakes you, molds you into something sharper, stronger, unrecognizable. Every moment you choose to remain the same is a moment wasted. Let the old self die. Let every outdated version of who you used to be burn. Ignite it in flames of purpose, in the fires of transformation, until not a single remnant remains. And from those ashes, rise a new version, a more dangerous one. Because if you're not willing to kill off who you used to be, then you've already made the choice to remain trapped in mediocrity. You should be untraceable. A phantom that's always one step ahead, always shifting, always outgrowing the boxes people try to shove you into. Reinvent yourself so thoroughly, so ruthlessly, that the very mention of your name sends a shiver down spines, because no one ever knows which version of you they're facing. Today's you should be unrecognizable compared to yesterday's. Your path should be a labyrinth of transformations, of discarded masks and shattered personas. Never let anyone become comfortable with who they think you are. Comfort breeds expectation. Expectation breeds predictability. And predictability? That's a death sentence for those who crave dominance. Keep moving. Keep shifting. Become a force that no one can pin down. Never be static. Never be stagnant. The world loves labels. It loves definitions, neat categories to trap you in. But when you reinvent yourself relentlessly, those labels crumble. Definitions fail. You slip through the cracks, untethered, unbound. You become something else, something dangerous. Because a being that refuses to stay the same is a being that's unknowable. And there is nothing more terrifying, more awe-inspiring than facing an enigma. Someone who defies understanding. Someone who destroys every expectation before it can even take root. Every time you change, every time you evolve, the world trembles a little more. You render those who thought they knew you utterly powerless. Because how can you fight something that refuses to stay still? Something that morphs and mutates, twisting beyond your comprehension. That's the power of relentless reinvention. It's more than growth. It's domination. It's control. It's taking the chaos of existence and wielding it, using it to shape and reshape yourself until you are a storm, a wild, unchained force that bends reality to your will. But reinvention isn't a casual affair. It's not some idle hobby for the weak-willed. It's a bloodbath, a brutal, merciless process where you tear out the pieces of yourself that no longer serve, rip away the layers of mediocrity, of weakness, of fear, until you stand raw, bare, and reborn. You kill who you used to be with your own hands, watch it bleed out before your eyes, and then smile as you build anew, piece by piece, brick by brick, stronger, wilder, more formidable than ever before. Reinvention is violence, the violence of becoming. the violence of refusing to stay trapped in any form for too long. To reinvent yourself is to wage war on every limitation, every expectation that tries to chain you to your past. And when you do this, when you truly commit to it, the world will never know how to handle you. It will shrink before your presence, recoil in fear, because each time it tries to predict you, you'll have already become something else. A new beast, a new creature forged in the fires of your own willpower. Reinvent yourself so often that even the memory of who you once were is obliterated. Become a myth. Become legend. Let your transformations be so profound, so absolute, that no one dares to claim they know you. Because the moment they think they do, you'll have already shed that skin and emerged as something unimaginable. There is no finish line. There is no final form. To reinvent is to embrace the infinite, an eternal dance between chaos and creation. You can never be finished. You can never stop. To stop is to die. To stop is to be swallowed by the stagnation that poisons lesser souls. So keep going. Keep pushing. Keep obliterating every version of yourself that becomes too comfortable, too predictable. Be relentless. Be ruthless. And when you look in the mirror each morning, see a stranger staring back. The mind is a twisted, cunning architect, a puppet master that strings together your reality from the threads of your own beliefs. It builds and binds you to a world that matches what you already think you are. Every passing day, every fleeting thought, every seemingly insignificant decision, each one is a piece of evidence in the court of your mind, reinforcing the story you've decided to live. And here's the twisted part. Your mind craves consistency, even if that consistency is built from lies. So when you tell yourself, I'm just an overthinker, I'm not cut out for success, I'm just not creative, your mind doesn't argue. It agrees. It sets out to prove you right, dragging in every shred of evidence, twisting every circumstance, until what you believe is what you become. Beliefs are the chains we forge ourselves, link by link, day by day, until we are shackled to a reality we never wanted. A prison of the mind. Because what's more terrifying than knowing that you are the one who's been building the bars, brick by brick? Your mind doesn't care whether the beliefs are empowering or destructive. It doesn't care whether you're building a cathedral or a tomb. It only cares that the structure stands. It worships safety, predictability. It will craft your circumstances to reflect whatever narrative you cling to, no matter how warped or self-sabotaging. I'm always stuck. I'm a procrastinator. I'm never enough. These aren't just thoughts, they're commandments. Your mind obeys, sculpting the world around you until it matches the twisted blueprint of your own self-definitions. But here's where the real nightmare unfolds. As you build this labyrinth of limitations, your mind feeds on it. It thrives in the familiar, no matter how suffocating. It adores the predictable suffering, the pain that comes on cue, because at least that pain is known, safe. But the unknown, the chaos of change, it recoils from it, like a creature terrified of the light. And so it will do anything to keep you where you are. It will twist every situation, warp every perception, to make the external world reflect your internal beliefs. So if you believe that you're destined to be average, to fail, to be unseen, your mind will lead you unconsciously through every decision, every action, making certain that's exactly what you get. But here's the secret. That same twisted mechanism, that same relentless drive for consistency can be turned against itself. If you dare to redefine your beliefs, if you tear up the script and rewrite the narrative, the mind will be forced to follow. It's a slave to your convictions, whether those convictions are chains or wings. But this isn't some feel-good fantasy where you chant affirmations and expect the world to bend to your will. It's a war against your own wiring. Because the moment you decide to believe something new, every piece of evidence you've gathered, every habit of thought, will rise up in rebellion. Your mind will scream at you, drag you back, throw every doubt, every failure, every fear in your path to pull you back to what's safe. But those who master themselves, they know this. They expect the resistance. They crave it, because that resistance is the first sign that the old beliefs are being ripped apart. So when you decide to believe something greater, something dangerous, I am disciplined, I am powerful, I am limitless, your mind will fight, but it will adapt, because it must. That's the design. It cannot not comply. It's programmed to align itself with whatever it's fed. So feed it a reality that forces it to expand. Feed it a narrative that demands transformation. Feed it beliefs so potent, so radically opposed to your past, that the only way it can survive is to evolve. But be ruthless, be meticulous. Because your beliefs are not just ideas, they're weapons. And if you don't wield them with precision, they will turn on you. Every thought, every word, every mental label you casually slap on yourself is a command to the subconscious, a blueprint for your future. So, if you're saying, I can't focus, I'm always distracted, I'm not creative, then you're signing off on a contract that binds you to mediocrity. But flip the script. Inject your mind with something dangerous, something that frightens it, something that shatters the safety of what it's clung to. Because when you start saying, I'm unstoppable, I am brilliance incarnate, I'm a force that adapts and conquers, your mind has no choice but to prove you right. That's the irony of it all. The mind's weakness is also its greatest strength. Its obsession with consistency can trap you, yes, but it can also be your greatest liberator. If you master it, if you have the audacity to declare a new set of beliefs and commit to them, the universe inside your skull must shift. Your mind will be forced to gather new evidence, to warp your circumstances to fit the new commands. But this isn't a change that happens overnight. This is a surgical transformation. A dismantling of the old infrastructure, a tearing down of the old walls, so that something new, something limitless, can rise in its place. So redefine what you are. Start from the ground up. Tear apart the old foundations with merciless precision, and rebuild. Every day, every thought, every breath, make it align with the vision you're carving out of the wreckage of what used to be. Refine your inner world until your mind bows to the new reality. And when it does, everything outside will fall in line. Because the external world, it's just the echo of the battle you've won or lost inside your own skull. There's no limit to what you can believe. And when there's no limit to what you believe, there's no limit to what you can become. Regret is a silent assassin, creeping through every breath of a wasted life. Too many, far too many, stay shackled in rooms that suffocate them, wasting away in stale air, forcing smiles under dim lights, trying desperately to convince themselves that this miserable chamber of existence is where they belong. Because the lie they tell themselves is that admitting a mistake is weakness, that turning back, admitting failure, is a betrayal of their pride. So they linger, year after year, trapped in a cage of their own making, when in reality, there is nothing more pathetic, more degrading, than staying in a place that was never meant to house you. It's the greatest deception of the human mind, the fear of starting over, the paralyzing dread of looking at a dead end and saying, I don't belong here. But it's not courage to endure the wrong path. It's cowardice. Cowardice to look at the wrong door, the wrong room, the wrong life, and stay simply because leaving would mean confronting your own misjudgment. Better to stay in hell than risk the unknown. That's the sick mantra of the trapped. But the irony is, refusing to admit you're in the wrong place doesn't just trap you, it rots you from within. Every day spent clinging to a mistake is another day your soul decays, withering away in the dark until you're little more than a husk in a room that never had any space for your greatness. Imagine it. A lifetime spent suffocating in the wrong room, every breath a betrayal of your own potential. And why? Because admitting the error, confessing that you took the wrong path, is too humiliating, too painful. So you stay. You tolerate the aching discomfort, the gnawing dread, the whispers, you don't belong here. But the discomfort doesn't diminish. It only grows. It swells like a poison, spreading through every corner of your mind, every thought, until you're paralyzed, until you can no longer see a way out, until you become the room, a part of its furniture, stationary, stagnant, dying. What fools, those who fear stepping back when the only real danger is staying still. Mistakes are not prisons. Wrong choices are not life sentences. But the refusal to acknowledge them, that is. Because admitting you took the wrong path, that you wasted time, that you walked through the wrong door, takes more strength than any hollow endurance. The world will whisper to you, keep going. Don't turn back. What will others think if you just leave? But what use is clinging to an illusion? What use is dying slowly in the wrong room, all because your pride is too fragile to face reality? There's more valor in cutting your losses than in clinging to a mistake. To say, I chose wrong, and walk away, not out of weakness, but out of power. Because only those with true courage can look at their broken choices and choose to tear it all down, to start again. And in that destruction, in that willingness to abandon the illusion, to burn the wrong door behind them, and plunge back into the unknown, they find freedom. Freedom to choose anew, to redefine, to rebuild. Because every wrong door, every wrong room is just a lesson, a reminder that your life is not fixed, not confined to one suffocating chamber of regret. It is limitless, as long as you have the audacity to walk away. The greatest agony is not the pain of choosing wrong. It's the slow, insidious erosion of your will, your purpose, your essence, when you choose to stay in that wrongness. When you force yourself to blend in, to adapt to a place that was never meant to house your potential. You shrink, you fade, until the person staring back at you in the mirror is a stranger, someone half dead, trapped behind glass, whispering, get out. Get out before it's too late. But the longer you ignore that voice, the quieter it becomes, until there's nothing left but silence. And silence in the wrong room is not peace. It's death. So tear down the facade, break free from the chains of false pride, and leave. Leave before your soul is choked out, before the walls of that room collapse and bury you alive in your own delusion. Leave and run toward the unknown, pressure. The invisible hand that grips your throat, that tightens around your chest, making every breath a struggle. Most people crumble under it, break apart like fragile porcelain, whispering to themselves that it's unfair, that life's burden shouldn't weigh so heavily on them. They shrink, they recoil, they beg for release. But pressure, true pressure, isn't the curse they think it is. It's privilege, a twisted gift that few are given, because it means there's something about you that matters, something that others expect, something that could shatter the mundane world, something that threatens the fragile equilibrium that keeps the weak comfortable. To be under pressure is to be chosen by expectation, chosen by challenge, chosen by the unforgiving hand of fate itself. It means there is something worth weighing down, something worth testing, because only those deemed worthy ever feel the weight. Only those capable of carrying it are pushed to the brink. Those who buckle, who crumble at the first hint of resistance, they were never meant to rise. They were meant to be crushed under the weight, meant to be filtered out. Because in the end, pressure's the great separator. It reveals who has substance and who's just hollow, who has iron in their spine and who's made of clay. To expect something of someone means there is something within them, some power, some spark, that the world knows could be dangerous if harnessed correctly. So when the weight bears down, when every muscle trembles and your bones creak under the strain, smile. Because this agony, this suffocating force that's threatening to crush you into dust, it's a sign that you're different, that you're marked by potential, marked by a terrifying possibility. Pressure is not punishment, it's an honor. It's a privilege bestowed only on those whose collapse would matter, on those whose success could reshape everything around them, because pressure is only ever applied to things that are valuable. Diamonds aren't formed in comfort. They aren't born in ease or tranquility. They are forged deep beneath the surface, under crushing, relentless pressure that no ordinary stone could withstand. To bear pressure means to be crafted, to be forged into something that can cut through worlds. And those who complain, who curse their burden, they do not understand. They don't grasp that without pressure, without that privilege, you're just another worthless stone, ordinary, forgettable. Pressure is a privilege because it means you are destined to become something more. To endure is to ascend. To embrace it is to transcend. Because only those who survive the pressure, only those who thrive under its weight, emerge transformed, indestructible. Most beg to be freed of it. They want relief, release, a life unburdened. But what's freedom without weight? What's life without the struggle that gives it meaning? Those who escape the pressure find themselves drifting, aimless, empty, because pressure, in its dark and twisted way, guides. It forces focus. It demands strength. It pushes you to the very edge, where there's no room for anything but pure, undiluted purpose. Those under pressure don't have the luxury of distractions. They can't waste time or energy on trivialities. The weight won't allow it. It crushes away the nonsense, grinds down the excess, until only the essence remains. So embrace it, invite it, seek it out like a masochist craving pain. The more that is expected of you, the heavier the burden, the greater the privilege. Because with every ounce of weight added, you are being singled out, being targeted by fate, by destiny, by the very forces that shape the universe. You are being challenged to endure, challenged to rise, to meet the weight with power, to become worthy of the pressure that's trying to crush you, to prove that no matter how much is piled on, no matter how relentless, no matter how unbearable, you will not break. That is what pressure really is. A test, a question whispered in the dark. Can you handle more? And every time you survive, every time you endure, the answer echoes back, resounding through the universe itself. Yes. Yes, you can handle more. Yes, you can take the weight. Yes, you deserve to feel this burden because you are capable of bearing it. Those who are never pressured, never pushed, never tested. They were left alone because their collapse was expected. They were never seen as a threat, but the ones who are crushed under the weight, the ones who are broken, rebuilt, and broken again, those are the ones who are seen as dangerous. Those are the ones who can change the world. Pressure is expectation. Expectation that you are more, that you can become more. So carry the weight. Bear the burden. Let it sculpt you, crush you, refine you, until all the weakness, all the hesitation, all the doubt has been ground away, and only the diamond remains. People count years like they're guaranteed. A number to tick off, a span to waste, a chapter to close, as if every rotation around the sun is just another meaningless mark on a calendar. But each year is not a passage of time. It's an arsenal of 365 weapons. Weapons that can be wielded to conquer, destroy, build, transform. Every day is a loaded chamber, a chance to rewrite your life story, or let the bullets rust in the dark, unused, wasted. Most see a year as a block of time, something to fritter away. But a year is a battlefield, and every single day is a tactic. Each dawn is a move, each sunrise is a decision. You don't just survive a year, you fight it. The ignorant count days, pass them like leaves drifting in the wind, acting as though those pages of time are infinite, as though another one, just like it, will fall into their lap if they wait long enough. But those who understand the game, the players of this twisted reality, they know that every day is an opportunity. 365 chances to strike, to bleed, to sweat, to prove that time is theirs to bend. A year isn't a gift, it's a challenge. A 365-step climb up a mountain that most are too weak, too comfortable to scale. Each day demands something from you, demands that you give it purpose, demands that you infuse it with power. But to those who blink and sigh, letting time slip through their fingers, a year is just another wasted breath. Imagine what could be accomplished if you saw every day as an opportunity to shift the world, to crush the old, to build the new. Most are too blind to see it, too afraid to feel the weight of possibility on their shoulders. One day slips into the next, swallowed by mediocrity, by procrastination, by 1,000 distractions that sing their hollow lullabies. One missed chance turns into 2, then 5, then 50. And soon a year is gone, and all they have to show for it is nothing. The same emptiness they carried from January to December, because they let the days slip, let the opportunities wither, never realizing that every sunrise is a loaded weapon waiting to be fired. 365 chances, 365 choices. Every day is a shot at something different, a spark that can set an entire future ablaze. if you have the will to light it. But most don't even see the matchbox. They wander through a maze of days, unaware of the power lying dormant in each. Too many see a year as time to endure, to simply pass, to tolerate. Maybe next year will be better. But those are the words of the defeated, the whimper of the already lost, because the wise know that a year is not something that happens to you. It's a collection of choices, a string of opportunities to seize, to wield, to make war on whatever limits held you down the year before. The secret is simple. The only way to waste a year is to waste a single day. Because a single day, a single moment, can shift the entire trajectory of your existence. It's not the grand gestures that rewrite destiny. It's the small, relentless decisions, the tiny, relentless victories, compounded. A year is built brick by brick, blood by blood, choice by choice. But the complacent never grasp this. They think change comes in waves, that progress comes in bursts. So they wait. They wait for the perfect opportunity, the perfect storm, while the days march on, indifferent to their hesitation. They wait until all the opportunities have passed, until they're left staring down an empty calendar, wondering where the time went. The powerful, the dangerous, the ones who rise, they see each of those 365 days as a crucible, an arena where they either dominate or fail. Each day is a fresh battlefield. A year is 365 battlegrounds, 365 chances to claim victory. Those who fear the day, who fear the fight, who fear the burn, they're the ones who are crushed by time. But those who wake up and choose, who decide to see each day as a weapon, as a tool to carve their path, they're the ones who master time, because they don't waste days. They weaponize them. Every day you let slip is another day you could have redefined yourself. Another chance to bury the old, to build the new, to break through the limits that others have placed on you. 365 days, 365 deaths, 365 rebirths, 365 transformations. The ordinary treat their days like currency to be spent frivolously, like dandelion seeds blown into the wind. But those who know what they're fighting for, they guard their days like treasures, invest them with the precision of a surgeon, because they know that at the end of those 365 days, they'll stand before the sum of what they've built. A monument or a graveyard. Crack the whip of willpower and make it kneel. Don't count days. Command them. Don't drift through weeks. Dominate them. A year is not something you receive. It's something you conquer. Something you rip apart and reassemble to your liking. The one who breaks the loop and steps beyond. And the secret is this. Every cycle, no matter how deeply embedded, has a crack, an overlooked flaw, a tiny tear in the fabric of repetition that you can exploit. A crack that, if found, if ripped open, can shatter the entire structure. The cycles rely on the fact that you're too busy suffering, too busy struggling to ever notice. But if you stop, if you breathe, if you watch, you'll see it, the tiny hidden doorway out of the endless loops. It's not grand, not obvious, but it's there. And the moment you step through, the pattern breaks. The wheel halts, and you emerge from the darkness into something newly born.